guys, in this video I'm going to show you how I made a shark cake topper. So this one's made out of modeling chocolate and it's one that I made in a Facebook Live earlier this week. So I've shortened this version down for you so you don't have to watch it in real time. But if you want to watch the real time version, you can still find that over on my Facebook page. So I'm starting with some modeling chocolate. I haven't worried about mixing colour or anything into it. It does get a little bit soft because my hands are quite warm when I'm doing this video. I'm going to use about 300 grams-ish. I'm also going to put a polystyrene ball in the middle of this just to make it a bit easier when I'm working with it. So you could do it solid if you want, or you can use Rice Krispie treats. I know in the Facebook Live somebody asked if Rice Krispie treats could be used, and you can use them. But what I would say is if you're going to use Rice Krispie treats, you could probably shape them more to the shape of the shark rather than leaving them in a ball shape. But I'm just going to encase that polystyrene ball in the modeling chocolate. So I'm not going to give this to anybody to eat because of that polystyrene. But with it being a Facebook Live, I needed something sturdy in there because it wasn't going to set quite in time during a live video. So what I'm doing now is pressing the chocolate out so that it's lengthening beyond each side of the ball. If balls has sides. If the ball has sides, do they have sides? I don't know. But yeah, so I've pulled it out longer where I want the tail to be. And I have pulled it out where the face is going to be, but not as long as the tail. Because the modeling chocolate's fairly soft, I'm adding a skewer in where the tail is just to keep it upright. And then I'm just pushing it into a polystyrene base with a couple of skewers just so that it doesn't move around too much when I'm working on it. And I'm just lifting it up at the nose at the end. So the one you can see in the background is one that I made as a bit of a practice in advance. And this is my version number 2 of it. So this one's going to be longer and thinner. I'm using the balling tool to push in the edge of where I want the mouth to be and the eye sockets. So really pull above or push above the eyes up so that you get in sort of a bit of a raised brow area above the eye. And I'm just going to point the nose a little bit more. So where I've put kind of the edges of the mouth, I'm now going to draw across with the sharp end of my Dresden tool. And we want 2 lines going across there. Just make sure you leave like a gap in the middle so that we've got plenty of space for drawing teeth. And I'm going to push that bit further in. So the smile that I've drawn on is going to be pushed in a little bit deeper. I just keep swapping modeling tools while I'm doing this. Guys, what I'll do is I'll link the modeling tools I've used below the video. It does link to my shop. You don't have to buy them from me, but it's just so you can see what I've used. And then I'm then going to use the pointy end to draw diagonal lines from the top line to the bottom line of the mouth, creating little triangles for his teeth. I did decide partway through this that I wanted to make his tail a little bit longer, just so it was more obviously different from the one I had made earlier. So you can just, if you're using modeling chocolate, it's fairly easy to blend it together. So I could just wrap a piece around and then I'm just using this little spatula to kind of blend it on there. And at this point he looks really kind of odd, but he will come together. So you might have to swap the stick for a slightly longer one if you're going to lengthen the tail like what I did. And then we want to cut out a kind of crescent shape for the very end of its tail. Now it's a bit soft, so I'm going to need to let it firm up a little bit. And we're going to stick it on a bit like this one. And then we want a little bit more paste for his pectoral fins. I believe that's what somebody told me they were called in the Facebook Live. You guys feel free to correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. So just kind of 2 little triangle shapes. And we're going to stick them onto the body a bit further back than the mouth. And try your best to blend the edges up into the modeling chocolate. Once they're on there, if you think you need to shorten them a little bit, you can just still cut bits off those fins. And then, of course, we want the fin that goes on the top. Is that the dorsal fin on the top, if I remember what people told me correctly? And then we're going to put a couple of little crease lines just above his nose and some nostrils in there. Do you guys prefer to see me do the cake toppers, or do you prefer me to do the cakes in the YouTube videos? Let me know in the comments below. And also if you've got any suggestions for the next video as well, just comment below and let me know. I've got a few different sea creature ones that we've done. So these rubbery tools, guys, are great for just blending that modeling chocolate together. They come in different shapes as well. So, you know, if you've got something a little bit more rounded, you could get that in. In fact, there's one called the cat's tongue tool, which I didn't even think about when I was doing this. And then afterwards I thought, oh, I should have used that. I don't know why I didn't think to. But they're just really great on modeling chocolate. Let's put in his gills. And you can try using different modeling tools to see which one you think gives you the better effect. Apologies if you do hear my dog barking in the background today, guys. So I'm just going to use a little bit of water to stick that tail on with. Just make sure it's thick enough that the stick will go into there, not stick out either side. And then we'll try blend it in the best we can. Another tiny piece just for a little fin just in front of his tail, if it's still called a fin. I really should look these things up, shouldn't I? So guys, to add colour, you can either brush your powders on dry or you can mix them into a paint. So I'm using a grey powder, edible food powder, even though I'm not going to be eating this one. And it's just mixed with some dipping solution, and I'm just going to paint that on the top half of my shark. If you don't want to use dipping solution, you can use clear alcohol, or you can use lemon essence as well if you prefer not to use the clear alcohol. Just make sure you leave a little bit unpainted on the underside. We're going to whiten that up in a bit. And of course, if you dab your brush on as opposed to stroking it sort of forward and backward, it'll give you a slightly different look. And you can always darken the grey as well and sort of dab it on anywhere that you want to look a bit more textured or a little bit darker, a bit more shaded. I'm going to add even more black to the grey to darken it so that I can get a deeper colour on the back of the fin. I'm going to paint it darker on the back of his pectoral fins and also the edges of his tail as well. I say it's a he, it could be a she, I'm not sure. I never decided on this one whether it was a boy or girl, or he or she. Thinking I should maybe do a hammerhead shark to match with this one. What do you guys think? Should I do a hammerhead shark? Or a swordfish? I'm just going to darken inside those eye sockets. You're probably not going to see them when we put the eyeballs in, but just in case, I'm painting in there anyway. Then we're going to do a bit more painting on the underside, this time with white. So just the white powder, edible powder I've got mixed with dipping solution again. And then I'm using the black powder, but diluted quite a lot, so it's very runny, and I'm just going to paint that over the teeth. And because it's runny, the dark colour is going to run between each tooth, so it's going to highlight all those lines that we put on there. Just give it 5 minutes to dry, and then just rub a bit of white just over the tops, and it should just catch the teeth and not the creases, just whitening up those teeth a little bit. And if you're wondering the length, roughly about 27 centimeters, but you could go bigger or smaller. Just using a ball of white modelling paste in each eye. Almost forgot to darken up his nostrils. And then I'm using a little oval of not white, it's black. So it's black modelling paste that's rolled really thin, and I've just put an oval in each eye of that. And then I want a really tiny bit of white, like a tiny bit, you just see it on the edge of my craft knife. I'm going to stick that in each eye with some water. My water isn't dirty, guys. I know it looks filthy. It's the colour that's come out of my brush when I was painting the grey. So whites are in his eyes. If you prefer, you could use like edible pens as well for drawing in the little highlights and sparkles in the eye. It just depends how easy you find it to stick small pieces in. But there he is. You can see he's much longer and slimmer than the one that I had made in advance of the Facebook Live. Guys, don't forget, you can still watch it back on my Facebook page if you want to see the longer version. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you did enjoy it. If you do, please do give it a like and subscribe to our channel for new videos and new tutorials each week. Thanks. Bye. If you liked the video, be sure to hit the thumbs up button and leave me a comment below. You can see more of my tutorials by clicking on the images on screen now. If you haven't already, make sure you click the subscribe button to stay up to date with my future tutorials. There are also links in the description box below where you can find me on Facebook, Instagram and more.